In Tamil Krishna Goswami is describing the 7 months of Srila Prabhupada's the last 7 months. He writes that Srila Prabhupada said we should avoid this being critical.
Yes.
Because we should be ideal.
We should
Ideal.
be ideal.
Prabhupada said.
Yeah, this is good. Yes, yes.
Also,
Remember this other story when they were flying in an airplane? I forgot who was there, which sailors. And this was back in the 70s when they were still smoking in planes. I remember it was so funny. You had the smoking rows and non-smoking rows. But actually, you know, it goes everywhere. So devotees were complaining. And they were criticizing, oh, they are smoking, oh, they are these people. And then Prabhupada, you remember this story?
I haven't read the whole book. I'm reading.
He said, if you are disturbed by this, how are you different from them? From these smoking currents. If this disturbs you, how are you different from them? Quite. Meaning that sadhu, meaning practitioner, the devotee is supposed to practice some tolerance. Something else? You have something? Okay, why for a sannyasi these are recommended here so much? Abhayam, okay, so Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti, okay, that sort of makes sense, right? Why Abhayam, fearlessness?
Because, I mean, what Prabhupada is saying that he should not have fear that to be alone without someone who is protecting him, because actually Krishna is always taking care of him.
Yes, correct. That's what Prabhupada said. And I remember when I remember my stint in the forest. There was, before Krishna consciousness, I was trying to become a sannyasi, and first a Buddhist monk, and then and hitchhiked from Lemberg, West Ukraine, all the way, it's like Polish border, all the way to North Mongolia side. It's like 7,000 or 8,000 kilometers. And I tried to join the single Buddhist monastery that existed there in those days, that were allowed to exist, and it was still not possible. It was 88, I think, something like this. And so then you couldn't just come and join. You know, what do you think? You have to fill all the papers. And so then I decided, okay, let me try. I had already read some Upanishads, a little bit from Mahabharata, and I had already read, of course, Buddhist things. I read a lot. So then I thought, okay, let me try to be a forest dweller monk. Wie sagt man? So I decided, okay, so it says in the Upanishad, you go to the forest, you live in the forest, so let me try. Young boy, you know. So I started walking into the forest, and I can say, I remember it was very scary. Not in terms, I had already lived in the forest for many weeks on the way. But this was like, you know, giving up all connections. So that was very scary for some reason. It's like, you know, breaking away all support from all support. So psychologically, it does require some courage or determination. Of course, something similar you experience when you go out for the first time, for the 21st time, to distribute books or to move into the temple or something. You know, some. Later, when I went to distribute books in the city, I remember we had a big thermos, 3-liter thermos with wonderful subject. There I was basically eating the tree bark and something, not much. But then on book distribution on the street, we had a wonderful subject, but went through through very similar experiences that I had in the forest, and it convinced me that yeah, Krishna is right. It works also in the forest, in a nice ashram with nice sabji with spices and everything. The same effect as I had in the forest.
The fear.
There are many. I mean, fear was just for the first 1 or 2 days until you sort of decide, yes, I go. It was not a physical fear, even though there was a crazy bear there who came and. So it's that was not a fear of something physical. It was sort of just having no support in this.
You were not afraid of the animals or snakes or something?
No.
This physical fear, no.
No.
And you were sleeping in the forest?
Yeah.
In a tent or something?
Not really even a tent, just some piece of plastic, and I had to start a fire. It was cold, very cold. A bear came in the night. I mean, not a bear, the bear. The monks told me there is a crazy bear there who doesn't go to sleep in the winter and just goes and bothers people. So in the night it was drizzling, some little rain, and I hear it, coming. But I had the fire, so I said, "Oh, go away!" The rain, the river, and this guy. I was not happy. But fire is fire.
It helps. Fire helps. Yeah.
Also, if you are confident, you scream at him. You think, maybe maybe he has something to. Actually, I had an axe. So I had something.
How you could have fire when it was drizzling?
Fire? If you have a good fire, it goes in under the rain. Yeah, it's another topic. It's a separate art. You need thick logs, how you put them together, and then they go burn for many hours. Okay, so Abhayam Sata, then purification of one's life, and then Prabhupada explains here, what does it mean by purification of one's life? Purification of one's existence. Pardon?
Pardon the rules and regulations. But proper mention more, he's given an example of Chaitanya.
Yes. And purifying our desires. And then he says that, therefore, this is why Krishna does not recommend really sannyas as the external ashram so much as the internal detachment. So in chapter 18, he will actually say that in his eyes, being a monk and not being and being a family man but detached, for him, this in his eyes, they are either equally good or even better to be detached while performing one's duties rather than externally showing some external signs of renunciation without having the internal renunciation. Okay, any more thoughts on these? Anything else here?
But there's something like Srila Prabhupada.
Yes. Yeah, like
He
you went
was
to the
alone. He was never alone, but he was alone.
Oh, yeah, but alone. He was very alone. In America and even in India. Of course, in Vrindavan, this is nice. You can get by very nicely.
Oh, I have a question. I'm sorry to.
Yes.
You finished? These two things are mentioned, freedom from envy and the passion for honor. And I was wondering when I was reading these, I wonder if there's a connection between the different qualities that is revealed by their placement. For example, freedom from envy is followed by passion for honor. Is there a relationship between this passion for honor and envy? Like, that was my question.
Okay, here, freedom from envy is adroho. Adroha. So adroha is not, actually it's very similar to drohungen, being threatening. Being threatening. So it's probably the Indo-European root somehow connected. Can check. The meaning is very close. So this means that being violent, being hateful and violent. And you can see that Srila Prabhupada groups all these qualities into the 4 ashramas and 4 varnas. So freedom from passion for honor. Passion for honor. So the passion for honor is something to be cultivated very seriously by those who may belong to the Shudra Varna. Not to be very passionate about being honored, not to be eager to gain some honor.
Yeah, I had another question about this. You would like to say some more about it?
No, you can go ahead.
Because, I mean, shouldn't we all try not to be,
Yeah, all yes. So this is a good question.
I mean, shouldn't we all try to be fearless?
Yeah.
Purify our existence.
So what do you think? Should we all develop all 26?
No.
No. Yes. What do you think?
The same name.
Huh?
No.
No.
I mean, Prabhupada saying that depending in which
Yeah.
ashram you are, you should develop mostly
Yes.
this specific. I mean,
Yes.
that doesn't mean that, for example, if I'm grihasta, I cannot have avayam. I can also have, but it's not
So this
the
is
most important.
explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. Let me see. Actually, it's probably yeah. All these 26 qualifications are. Can you see? No, not so much. All these 26 qualifications mentioned are transcendental qualities. So this is the one nature means they should be cultivated according to the different statuses and of social and occupational order. The purpose is that even though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice, by all classes of men includes women, by all classes of men means men and women. Prabhupada's using sort of all the British usage. Then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest platform of transcendental realization. So you can see that these qualities are what is described in the Vedanta, in the Yoga Sutra as Sarvabhaumika, universal. It specifically mentions in the Yoga Sutra that they are for all varnas and all ashrams, all places and all times. Is ahimsa, non-violence, purity, honesty, 5 yamas. And also in Canto 7 and 11, when we have this list of civilized qualities of a civilized human, they are also mentioned as for every varna and every ashram. So being moral qualities, they are for all the varnas and ashramas, but we begin, so in other words, we may have some quality that we will have as the biggest challenge and very important for our progress in our varna and ashram. So like for a sannyasi, if a sannyasi doesn't have knowledge, does not try to live a pure life, and it doesn't practice fearlessness, then what kind of sannyasi would that be? Right? So this is very important, these three. Right?
It means for this, like for sannyasi, this is necessary, but it doesn't mean that somebody else cannot develop.
Yeah,
this.
all these qualities are for all the people. But the order, what will be the first one to develop, is divided. So you have 3 for the sannyasis, 3 for the grihastas, and you will be happy to hear only 1 for brahmacharis and only 1 for the vanaprasthas. So what are the 3 for the grihastas?
Charity.
Charity, dhanam, dhamma.
Sacrifice. No? Maybe
The sacrifice, yagya, yes, correct, very good.
Self-control.
Self-control, dhamma. By the way, this is a big purport, and Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj in our VDP temple many years ago, he ran a course, a seminar on speed reading. Speed reading.
What is it?
It's reading,
Speed reading.
yeah, a whole page in 1 second.
Yes.
Yes.
1 second.
Yes. Or 20 seconds, I mean, it depends. It only on individual speed. Basically, reading more than 500, reading more than 300 words per minute. That's speed, considered speed reading. And he was using this purport.
In 1 minute, you mean?
Yeah. What did I say?
In 1 second.
Oh, in 1 minute. Yeah, sorry, in 1 minute. More than 500 words. And he was using this purport. We had to read it. I forgot what was it. Was it 30 seconds or something like 6 pages? And we were supposed to go through this purport in I think less than 1 minute. And then we had to answer questions about these qualities. We had to like go fast and catch what's the. He was using this.
Can you read the seminar here, please?
Huh?
I want to learn speed.
It's not necessary, but I don't think he's been giving this lately. That was many years ago.
Yeah, another question. I don't want the same thing.
Before we go,
Yeah.
what is the one quality for a brahmachari and one quality for vanaprastha? One quality for vanaprastha is austerity. Papa. Yes. And one, yes, swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is study for a brahmachari. So brahmachari primarily, first of all, is a student. Right? If a brahmachari doesn't study, then what's the point? Right? And study means not just it's information, yes, but also character. So we learn to face certain challenges in life and cultivate certain qualities. So the Mayapur Gurukul, Maharaj was saying that in his Gurukul he's looking first of all that the brahmacharis for qualities he looks that they should develop responsibility, sensitivity, and something else. But these 2 he mentioned, which you don't usually expect that this is a quality for, okay, responsibility maybe, but the sensitivity sounds more like a grihastha quality, right? To be sensitive. No, he says, if you don't develop this as a brahmachari, you must marry. and in the family, you will be trained. If you're not sensitive, we will show you. It's not good to be sensitive. So better learn before, and then either you marry or don't. You already know what's. If you have and you get married, great, then you know how to act. And if you don't, still it's no problem. Okay? All right. So you can see that in one verse you have 3, 3, and 2. So that's 8 for 4 ashrams, and this one goes to the varnas. This begins the brahmanas. You have 12 for the brahmanas and three or four for kshatriyas, 2 for vaishyas, and 1 for shudras. Primarily means it's for all, but an important focal task for these ones.
Well, it's just a small one. See, we are supposed to be practicing Krishna consciousness, right? Which means that we are kind of doing this beyond the different ashrams and nirvanas, right? So when it says that we should cultivate these qualities according to our ashram or varna, I kind of think, when I see that, I think, well, I mean, are these like leaves on a tree? And shouldn't I just be watering the tree by trying to become a bhakta? And by doing that, wouldn't I automatically cultivate all of these qualities, even according to my ashram? Even if you know, like I'm situated in a particular ashram, in spite of the fact that I am trying to be a bhakta.
It's a good question. It's very good. It's an eternal question. Should we or should we not practice the qualities? It's perennial, eternal dilemma.
But don't you like kind of just come up and are you just more naturally kind of
And you have
fearless?
two kinds of answers. One is automatically,
Mhm.
and the other is no, you work.
Mm.
As frequently is the truth, the answer is both.
Mm.
Lakshmi Moni Mataji once substituted this automatically with another word, saying probably it would be easier for us to avoid misunderstanding if we said organically. Automatically means organic,
Mm.
not that it just drops from the sky, but it's part of the process. Like now we are doing Bhakti Shastri. This is the Bhakti Shastri course. And in the Bhakti Shastri course, we are reading about the qualities. And Prabhupada writes here in this last paragraph that everybody should develop these qualities by practice.
Mhm.
Then you will not experience the miseries of the material world.
Mm.
So, if you are a very advanced devotee, and just by chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you manifest all qualities. Then you think, yes, done, it's done. But if I chant Hare Krishna, then I still experience miseries. Then, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, that Ihadani, Durgaivam Idrisham Ihadani Nanuraga. I'm so unfortunate. I'm chanting, no anuraga. Then, what to do? Trina Devisunichena, Ahori Vasarishnana, Amanina, Manadena. Kirtaniya Sadhaya. What you do? Chant. What you do? Bhakti. But how you do with these qualities?
All right.
And so, these qualities are not the goals in themselves separately. So as separate goals and processes, we do not accept them, as you rightly notice. We do not take these qualities as outside of bhakti or instead of bhakti. But as we chant in the process of bhakti, to make bhakti more pleasing to Krishna and to the devotees around us, we try to do bhakti in this way. So they are not what we do, but how we do bhakti. What we do is bhakti. What we do is chant. But how? Sunichayana, humbly, amanina, without pride, manadena, with respect.
I thank you very much. That's helpful.
I remember my bhakta leader, he said, this devotee, such and such, he's chanting 64 rounds every day, and he's sleeping only 4 hours at night. So I had been a devotee maybe by that time, maybe 6 months or 7 months in the ashram. So I said, wow, this is very impressive. But then he continued, he said, but nobody wants to be in the same building with this person. Oh, and he's preaching very successful. He's a very good preacher. So wonderful. But you don't want to be near him. You said, how so? Shouldn't this come automatically? You know, all the good qualities? Well, it's the same as, you know, as they say, with old age comes the wisdom. But sometimes old age comes alone.
No, what was the joke? What was it? Old age?
Huh?
What was the joke? Old age?
Comes alone.
With old age comes wisdom, but sometimes old age comes alone. That's good.
So the same here, you know? Automatically, yes, but sometimes, you know, you didn't put the right gear, or you didn't something. You still keep it in park. So no matter how we prep, still stay there.
So the chanting is not an automatical process.
It's not such a narrow, superficial process. So basically, you can see that these whole two chapters, the conclusion is bhakti. We will see Om Tat Sat, the conclusion of chapter 17, Om Tat Sat, which are the holy names. He says these are the holy names. Also in the Yoga Sutra, it says Tad Vachaka Pranava. Om is the name of God. Tad Artan, Tad Japa, Tad Arta Bhavana. A yogi should do japa of the holy name, meditating on the person, Tad Arta Bhavana, of Ishvara, of the Lord. So, Om. This is like Harinam Sankirtan, almost. But at the end, Krishna says, so you have to chant these names with everything you do, with all the sacrifice. But if you do any act of sacrifice, religious, any religious activity, without faith, then it is asat. In other words, we have to start somewhere, you know. So we begin with the senses, chant with tongue and ears and eyes and hands. Come to the temple, you know, look at this, bow down. But also, it's the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. A big surprise. So, consciousness is what we develop. In Sanskrit, Hindi, and Bengali, it's so beautiful. This is Antarashtriya, International Krishna Bhavana Amrita Sangha. This is the International Sangha Association for relishing the nectar of being aware of thinking about Krishna. Not just Krishna consciousness, but nectarian Krishna consciousness. Krishna Bhavana Amrita Sangha. So, are you relishing yet? Hare Krishna.
Yes, sir.
You better do.
Question, Durdhaivam Dakshanapalini Anuragha.
Who?
So, Durdhaivam is a.
Yes.
Shall we take it also as an abstraction?
Durdaivam?
We are reading every morning the translation of Shishik every second day. Yes, so, but I'm so unhappy that I'm not crying, yes. And Shikshashtaka means 8 instructions. And you know how we take it? It's like an instruction.
I think the instruction comes in the next verse, Trinadati Sumicha.
Yeah.
This is the instruction.
Yeah.
And Durdaivam, we don't have to practice. We already have it, I think, many of us naturally. I have naturally Durdaivam, misfortune. I don't have to practice misfortune. I have
So,
it.
never mind, but he condensed somehow, not the this, why is it here in Shikshashtaka?
Because he has to, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, it goes from Shraddha to Anatanirviti, and then Trinadati Sumicha, this is Nishta, practice of Nisha. So he has to.
Only Nishta? That's me next.
Nisha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is Nisha. And Durdaivam, this is about Anatanirviti,
Okay.
cleaning the heart. So he has to reflect what we go through. Otherwise.
So that is instructions. Nevertheless, somehow
Instruction in the sense that if you feel Durdaivam, then this is what you do. Okay? Okay, so now the Brahminical qualities. So maybe I can request you to see We have 12 Brahminical qualities here. Arjavam.
Satyam must be one too, right?
Yes. So, we like to look at them, probably in your book, and I think this is up to where. No, this is also 1, 2. Not flickering, modesty, softness, non-greediness, mercy, not criticizing, peace, detachment, not angry, truth, non-violence. Yeah, so this whole verse is about them. So these 3 are for the Kshatriyas. Strength, forgiveness, and steadiness. So out of these 12 for the Brahmas, beginning with Arjavam, Aufrichtigkeit, simplicity or honesty and straightforwardness. Basically, you see that there are 2 kinds of honesty. Arjavam, straight behavior, and Satyam, it's like straight speech, correct, truthful speech.
Mm-hmm.
This is truthfulness, and this is honesty or integrity. Integrity is probably, I think, is the translation. Integrity.
Okay, that's a nice. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Although out of English, it's very difficult to translate in any other language. I don't know.
Not crooked.
No, yeah, that's good. Not good. Yes, this is very good.
Not be crooked.
Integrity is okay, because integrity means both sides.
Yes, yes. In English, it's a nice word, but if you have to translate this into some other language, it's. I think nowadays they like to say integrity, because even though it used to be something else, so everybody is using this. It's a nice word. In German, do they use this word integrity? Integrity? Oh, for truthfulness or Aufrichtigkeit or
Integrität.
Integrität. Does it mean being honest?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, can you please look, or either in the Sanskrit, it's easy to remember in Sanskrit because it's, if you have already learned, or if you're already familiar, or look at the translation, and can you please pick which is one that's easy for you, or sort of natural, you have a natural taste for this, and one that you think would be really helpful for you for your further progress.
I have a question about that. I mean, I can see now, I can pick one that would seem natural for me, but if I thought about who I was like a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, it would not be the same.
That's good, very good. Thank you for saying this. See, it works. The process works.
So I guess for me now, right?
For you now. All right. So can you please pick 2? One that's sort of natural and easy, and one that you think is important for you now.
Was einfach ist und was
Einfach ist, das einfach ist und das wichtig ist.
Okay.
To develop.
Yes, to develop. So to one easy or natural, and one that you think is important for you now.
But which is easy, which I have already, or which is...
Maybe, or you find it attractive. You know, maybe I think I have, but I like it. I always think about it, but my friends complain, no, you should work on it. one easy and one important. One that's easy and one that's important.
But can we do all or just this part from ahimsa?
If you don't have among these 12, okay, you can take some other. No problem. But primarily between these 12, beginning with Arjuna up to all Ataplan. Huh?
Nicht von allen.
Kannst auch, ja, danke dann. Aber erst von die 12, die vorhanden sind. Von Einfachheit bis Bescheidenheit, noch Entschlossenheit, feste Entschlossenheit. So can you please turn to a neighbor and share, if it's not too secret, what is your easy and what is your important.
So what is dringend?
Okay.
The right time.
Is Achapala, the 20 nations. I think I have.
Take your time.
And the difficult is this aversion. Aversion for
Forgive and
this aversion.
Ablehnung. Okay. For me, I think easy is purusha, because we do it here all the time. Sing mantra. What's important?
I wish that I were more. I wish that I were more gentle. I think I'm pretty good.
Aversion. This we want to develop.
It is difficult to find only one. But it's
Yes, I know. Sure, very different. Very different. So again, yeah, yes.
Maya, mercy.
Mercy. Yeah.
And I think that this word, find the kite, is probably not the best word for me. I think 10%
Ambition.
the English translation is gentleness. Friendly is translation for friendly. Not find the kite, that's friendly. I will find a way to.
We could use all of this, or just.
No, he said from Arjava, from simplicity, from Arjava, till Achapala.
Okay, entschlossen.
In this prayer.
That's also important, I think. Achapana.
Gentle.
Yeah.
That's for you important.
This is a thing